On this week's episode, we take a look at the Lego set that costs just as much as 2 PlayStation 4s. I lose all the respect in the world for Luigi. We take a look at this month's backlog. And finally, DC is eyeing a brand new actor to play its clown prince of crime.
There is no nobility in poverty. I have been a rich man and I have been a poor man, and I choose rich every time.
All this and much, much more on this week's episode of The Nerf Report.
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah.
Welcome to the Nerf Report. My name is Bryant Chappelle, and let's get straight into this week's news. Mario and Rabbid Kingdom Battle launched this week on the Nintendo Switch, bringing the list of playable games for the Nintendo Switch up to 5 games. I know what you're thinking. 5 really good games on the Switch. Why are you excited about that? Well, prior to this week, it was at 4. 5 is better than 4. Mario Rabbid's Kingdom Battle joins the likes of Zelda Breath of the Wild, ARMS, Mario Kart, and Splatoon 2. However, Ubisoft released a trailer this week that showed some in-game footage, and, well, Luigi Dabbing it up for everyone. In the gaming trailer, Luigi is seen partaking in the long-standing, way overdone, historic art of dabbing. Since no one else is going to say this to you, Nintendo, I will. No. Just no. Dabbing is nothing new in video games. In fact, in Destiny, there was a dabbing emote. Uncharted 4 featured Nathan Drake dabbing. And, well, Donkey Kong dabbed in Mario Kart 8. But now we get to add Luigi, the sloppy second plumber, to the long list of victims affected by dabbing. I mean, it makes complete sense. Nintendo is marketing this game directly to their demographic. Children. Because, quite frankly, the only people that dab are, well, children. Also this week, we got our first look at Evangeline Lilly in her costume as the Wasp. Evangeline Lilly will be co-starring in the upcoming AntMan sequel titled AntMan and the Wasp. In a post on Twitter, Evangeline Lilly shared this photo in honor of Jack Kirby's 100th birthday. The post read, "I am honored to be on the set today playing the Wasp on what would be Jack Kirby's 100th birthday." The costume in the photo certainly differs from the Wasp's outfit that we saw at the end of the first Ant-Man. But perhaps that costume belonged to Janet Van Dyne, who will be played by Michelle Pfeiffer. Fun comic book fact for those of you watching at home, Jack Kirby was the co-creator of the Wasp alongside Stan Lee back in 1963. And if you want to know more about the Wasp, I highly recommend checking out Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes on Netflix. Great cartoon, and the Wasp is almost a starring character in that series. Every single month, subscribers to PlayStation Plus or Xbox Games with Golds receive free games. But if you're anything like me, I get so distracted with the games that I'm currently playing that I never play the games that are featured on those services. Oftentimes, they sit unplayed for months on my backlog. So, for the month of September, here are the games getting added to our backlog. PlayStation 4 owners will receive the meta-human open-world masterpiece of infamous Second Son and the dog-fighting shooter Strike Vector X. PlayStation 3 owners will have access to Truck Racer and Handball 2016, while PS Vita owners can play We Are Doomed and Hateful Boyfriend. Xbox One owners will receive the motocross balancing racing game of Trials Fusion, along with Oxenfree and Forza Motorsport 6. Oddly enough, Forza Motorsport 7 comes out in a couple months, so this has to be a marketing attempt at Xbox where they're like, hey, we need to up the sales of Forza Motorsport 7. How can we get people interested in the game who've never played it? Well, we'll give them the previous game for free. Awesome idea. Xbox 360 owners will receive Battlefield 3 and Hydro Thunder Hurricane, which, in full disclosure, if you would have came up to me before this announcement and asked me, had you ever heard of Hydro Thunder Hurricane, I would have probably thought it was the direct-to-DVD sequel of Hulk Hogan's Thunder in Paradise. all of these games could be yours for the small price of $9.99 a month with PlayStation Plus and $9.99 a month with Xbox Games with Gold. Well, after weeks of speculation on whether eSports was going to be allowed or not allowed in the 2024 Paris Olympic Games, it looks like we finally have our answer. Thomas Bach, the president of the Olympic International Committee, gave us a pretty decent statement on the future of esports inside of the Olympics. We want to promote non-discrimination, non-violence, and peace among people. This doesn't match with video games, which are about violence, explosions, and killing. And there we have to draw a clear line. Yes, all video games are violent. It's time we take a stand against violent video games and say, no! I've had enough with your brutal violentness. A video game about World War II? No thanks, Call of Duty. I learned everything I need to know about World War II off of Wikipedia. Why would I want to play a video game about it? It just sounds boring. Assassin's Creed Origins? Pharaoh's Lives Matter too, Ubisoft. And Wolfenstein 2. Don't get me started on the non. In all seriousness, I kind of get where Thomas is coming from. The Olympics at its core is about unity. Every 4 years since 1896, the Olympics has been this event where countries put aside their differences and unite. It's 1 month where the entire world doesn't care, it's just we're all one people, and it's an awesome, awesome concept. And if an idea like COD or Battlefield is going to bring violence or virtual violence to this platform, it's kind of like, hey, we're uniting in sportsmanship to put aside our differences with violence. Let's take a moment away from worrying about who has nuclear bombs or who's going to invade my country. Let's just focus on us being mankind. So in that kind of concept, I get where he's coming from. But on the flip side, there are non-violent games out there. You've got Madden, FIFA, NBA 2K, and The League. These games I could see being implemented just as fine, and they could still qualify as, well, esports. But unfortunately for games like Dota or League of Legends or Smite, they probably will never see their debut on the Olympic stage. LEGO this week debuted a 7,500-piece Millennium Falcon kit, making it the world's largest LEGO kit. This thing is awesome. Check this out. The Millennium Falcon features key parts that allow builders to change the styles between their favorite versions of the Millennium Falcon. The Falcon includes 10 figures, 5 figures from Empire Strikes Back, and 5 figures from The Last Jedi's. Builders have access to 2 interior areas, the Hollow Chess area and the Engineer Rooms. The LEGO set will be officially released this October for the small price of $800.
$100 doll hairs? It's a lot of doll hairs.
Oh, come again?
Do dolls come with that many hairs?
Man, I really want this. I'm starting to get into Legos a little bit. Like, I just got done finishing a Destiny Ghost out of Legos. And personally, I owned a Millennium Falcon as a kid. I don't know where it went. I lost it. I don't know how you lose a Falcon, but Han Solo did the same thing. But honestly, this Lego looks like the perfect replacement. But now I gotta figure out how to convince my wife that I need to spend $800 on Legos. It's gonna be a tough sell, but if you have any ideas on how to sell my wife to let me buy an $800 Lego set, put it in the comments section down below. If you live in the state of Pennsylvania, well, sucks to be you. While the rest of the world gets to enjoy the upcoming remake of Stephen King's It, you have to be worried about real-life clowns trying to kill you. The Pennsylvania State Police Department released the following statement warning about, well, killer clowns. With the fall of 2017 upon us, it is anticipated that similar creepy clown sightings could be reported starting as soon as September, in part due to the fact that the movie It will be releasing in theaters on September 8th, 2017. The movie, which is adapted from Stephen King's novel by the same name, portrays an evil demon who takes the shape of a clown named Pennywise that stalks kids from within the sewers and killing them when they least expect it. In all honesty, this is probably the best promotion that this film could have got. In the statement itself, it shows the release date of the movie of September 8th. Like, this is unbelievable to me. Last year saw an influx of creepy clown sightings, with sightings reported in Alabama, Colorado, Florida, Georgia, Maryland, Mississippi, Missouri, North Carolina, Ohio, Oregon, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, Virginia, and Wisconsin. This is easily the creepiest thing that the internet has ever come up with, and I'm absolutely in love with it. I think it's creepy, but I also find it so funny. And finally, DC was in the news this week for their announcement of the Joker's origin film, and well, more importantly, Martin Scorsese has signed on as a producer for the film. The famed director/producer has already brought us films like Raging Bull, Goodfellas, Taxi Driver, Gangs of New York, and The Wolf of Wall Street. But now, after a career of avoiding superhero films, what makes Scorsese sign on as a producer to the upcoming, well, Joker origin film? Well, the Hollywood Reporter answers that question with a little bit of speculation, but they had this to say. The answer involves a plan worthy of the Joker himself. Sources say Warner Brothers will make an ambitious attempt to use Scorsese to bring Leonardo DiCaprio into the world of comic book movies. There is no offer for DiCaprio, and sources say Scorsese's deal to produce isn't even done yet. The chances of landing DiCaprio could be slim to none, but the attempt in itself sends a signal to talent that Warner Brothers wants to hire serious filmmakers to make serious films. Last week we had the conversation of Warner Brothers and DC using the word of standalone film. And the shitstorm, well, that created on the internet. And people saying, Ben Affleck is out, there's gonna be a brand new Batman, this movie's gonna suck, forget the Justice League. So you can just imagine that this little bit of speculation that Martin Scorsese is signed on as producer and Leonardo DiCaprio could be the next Joker, you can imagine the shitstorm that happened. The Hollywood Reporter went on to say, for Joker, which could be the initial entry for the label, sources say the studio and Phillips would want DiCaprio or another A-lister to play the character as a gritty crime boss in a Scorsese-esque Gotham underworld. I have zero bones to pick with the idea of DiCaprio being the Joker. He already creeps me out in person, so it's not really that hard for me to imagine him as the Joker. What I do have an issue with is DC kind of bringing on this multi-universe idea. Having multiple actors and different people playing different characters just becomes confusing. I don't want to have to sit here and have to explain to someone, well, Ben Affleck plays the Batman in the Justice League films, but this is the Batman of the Dark Knight series. Or this is the Joker of the Scorsese Dark Underworld crime saga, and this is the cracked out Joker of the Suicide Squad. Like, these just aren't conversations I want to have. Please just make everything streamlined and make it all work. Don't produce crappy shit, and then you wouldn't have this problem. That is it for this week's episode of the Nerf Report. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you saw, give us a thumbs up, drop some comments down below, subscribe to the channel, but more importantly, share it with your friends. And in closing, my name is Brian Chappelle. You are you, but more importantly, this is the Nerf Report. Thanks for watching.
Are you listening?